Giovanni Smith may go.
And he's going to go right now. But there was a goal.
Wild.
I don't know if we got a goal first or the fight. So we'll have to figure this out. But Smith is going right now with Ben Harper. A couple of heavyweights here. Smith getting a left now, trying to come over the top with a right. Harper and Smith. Now they'll go along the boards. There's the takedown by Giovanni Smith. And we will get this all sorted out because I don't know if there was a whistle because Tarasov didn't make much of a play on the shot. Giovanni Smith, 2 games with Carolina this preseason, and his second fighting major as he heads to the box to a raucous applause here on community night.
I mean, no better way to endear yourself to the community than a fight and a goal in the same highlight. Hi, everyone. It's the Canes Corner podcast, and I am Adam Gold. And somehow tonight, the Hurricanes did not win the hockey game that they absolutely throttled the Florida Panthers. It wasn't even the Florida Panthers. It was essentially a bunch of guys who were either going to be in the AHL or, for all I know, in the ECHL. It wasn't a great Florida Panthers team, and it wasn't a great Florida Panthers performance. But it did get 4 goals on the board, and the Hurricanes lose 4-2. Like, as Rod Brind'Amour said after the game downstairs, it's a good thing the game doesn't count. Sebastian Aho said, well, we learned how not to play. Carolina for 40 minutes was excellent, and really for stretches of the third period was good too. But they didn't score more than the 2, which, if we're going to learn a lesson, you only scored 2 no matter how good you are, and Daniil Tarasov was excellent tonight. But still, there was a lack of finish is not the right word. There was a lack of determination in finishing, I thought. That because it's a preseason game, it is not as much urgency, right? All of that. There should have been more goals. Ehlers and Jarvis and Nadeau all had dynamite chances to make it 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever could have been. Didn't work. Ultimately, the Hurricanes gave up 3 goals. The empty net goal is the empty net goal. They gave up 3 that Frederik Andersen would not have given up as poorly as Carolina played for large swaths of the third period. There's no way Freddie Andersen gives up those 3 goals, any of them. So, we can be as mad as we want, but the Hurricanes, as poorly as they played in the third period, still win the game 2-0 or 3-0 or whatever. If Andersen plays the third, but it doesn't matter. We got a lot of good to discuss. You heard the Ryan Suzuki deflection goal, which of course that highlight almost had nothing to do with the goal. You heard the goal being scored, but you didn't hear who scored it. It was Ryan Suzuki. Deflection of a Mike Riley shot. Kevin LeBanc, the secondary assist. As the play was unfolding, though, Giovanni Smith and Ben Harper were dropping the gloves and trading hands. So the fight sort of overwhelmed everything, but that was probably Carolina's 4th or 5th scoring opportunity. That wasn't even a good one. That was just a good deflection by Ryan Suzuki. And then the real good goal that Carolina scored tonight came about 6 minutes later, a little bit more than 6 minutes later, when Andrei Svechnikov, Eric Robinson, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi combined to force a turnover and make a play, and Kotkaniemi finishes it. And that made it 2-0. And honestly, if I were a betting man, there's no way I would have thought that Carolina was ever going to lose the game after being ahead 2-0. Heck, I didn't think they were going to lose the game even though it was 2-1. And I'll tell you a quick funny story before we get into the game here, is that when it was 2-1, the goal actually was bookended by 2 very good Miftakov saves. A save before the Ben Harper goal, which again was a bad goal, but then he made a good save after the Harper goal to keep it 2-1. And I kid you not, with a little bit more than maybe 5 minutes left, I turned to Dennis Cox, who I'm sure a lot of you know, and on press row, and I said, because Miftakov had just made another good save, and I said, boy, I'm considering giving Miftakov one of the 3 stars just for keeping it 2-1 and keeping us from overtime. And I kid you not, 15 seconds later, he's wherever he went behind the net to misplay the puck to create the goal that made it 2-2. And I just went, I take it back. I take it back. Because then I'm sitting here going, man, there's 4 minutes to go. We're staring at overtime. I actually walked over to a couple of the players to ask them, how do you feel about overtime in a preseason game? And I'm going to keep the players' names out of it just for whatever. And one of them said, well, it's good practice. Yeah. The other player was like, don't like it. One player said, good practice. Yeah, I don't like it. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to play overtime in the preseason. Heck, most of these guys don't even like playing preseason hockey. And honestly, that's the way it looked in the third period, where Carolina was like, yeah, can we end this game? Can we just, can we go? And they sort of played like it. And that's why if you look at the box score, you'll see, I think Aho and Jarvis were both -3. Ehlers was -2. Gostisbehere was -2. That was not a great third period, mostly from, I think, the blue line. Shane Gostisbehere wasn't great in the third period. Regardless, nobody cares that much. It's embarrassing to lose the game like this, but it ain't that embarrassing because it doesn't count, ultimately. All right. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. It took too long to get to that, didn't it? If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. So let's get to a few of the things from the game. We have a montage of should have been goals. Because honestly is the biggest story of the game. The top line, which everybody wanted to see. Oh, real quick. I don't know exactly what the crowd was tonight. It wasn't a capacity crowd. It wasn't a sellout. It was about 15,000, maybe a little bit more. But it was a good crowd. And what I'm hoping is that it was a lot of people who don't normally have an opportunity to go to Hurricanes games. And this is not a plea. And I am fortunate, and believe me, I know it, because there is nothing like seeing this in person. It is the greatest spectator team sport that we've got. It's better than baseball in person. It's better than football in person. It's better than basketball in person. There is no major team sport that's better in person than hockey. So what I'm hoping is that it's a lot of people who, because it is expensive to go, it's reality. I'm not complaining about it. And again, I'm on a press pass for 41 home games, plus the 3 in the preseason, plus however many in the postseason. So it doesn't cost. I get paid to do this. But for a lot of people who don't have, gosh, it's got to be a $500 night to go to a hockey game. If you go just with one other person, it's obviously less. But man, if you want to take your kids to a game, man, it's a lot of money. Then if you buy concessions or you park, all that, it's a lot of money. And I get it. So what I'm hoping is that we had a lot of people who love the Canes, can't afford to go to games, as maybe you go to 1 game a year or 2 games a year. But I hope you took advantage of it tonight. And I understand the team didn't win, but they entertained you. They should have entertained you for 40 minutes. They did me. And so $10 tickets, parking was free. I know that they were taking donations. So, man, Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it didn't. The outcome wasn't great, but the Hurricanes absolutely played well for the first two periods. All right, let me get to the top line. Everybody's here to see Sebastian Aho, center, Nick Ehlers, and Seth Jarvis. They didn't score. It would have been great for them to get a goal or two or three because they could have easily. But they were awfully good for 40 minutes. So I'm going to read you a couple of numbers. Ehlers, 5 scoring chances, 2 of them grade A's. This is, I believe this is in all situations. Jarvis, 7 scoring chances, 5 grade A's. Now, Aho only had, I think, 1 and 1, like 1 grade A scoring chance. But there's a reason why Ehlers and Jarvis had so many chances. Aho was setting everybody up. I thought those three played really, really well together. And you saw the chemistry. I think we started to see the chemistry that we're going to have in the regular season. These guys are really, it's a good line. And it's going to be fun to watch. It's not huge, but last I checked, Aho and Jarvis and Ehlers have scored a ton of goals in this league. And they're still the same size. That's going to be a fun line to watch. Should have had more goals, no doubt about it. I'm going to go back to the first period. The Hurricanes had a power play, and when I play the highlight montage, you're going to hear some of the power play. I'm not even going to call it a failure. I know they didn't score, but man, for 3 minutes, so kind of bookending 55 seconds of 5-on-3. The Hurricanes did everything you want to do, just didn't score. Some of that was Tarasov. Some of that was, Carolina didn't have enough determination to put a little bit more on the shot, elevate a puck here and there. But also you can give Daniil Tarasov, who, again, I've said this before. A couple of years ago, I thought he was the goaltender of the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And now he is the backup to Sergei Bobrovsky in Florida. But he was the only NHL player on the ice tonight, really. There are a couple guys who might be fringy NHL players for the Panthers, but they didn't bring anybody that was all that amazing. But Tarasov was great, and the Hurricanes just didn't do enough with their opportunities. But, man, the power play in the first period, I don't know how many chances it generated, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure. They just didn't score, but the passing was good. It also looks, and this might have just been one set, it looks like they've made an adjustment in how they set up. So a lot of times it's an umbrella. You've got somebody at the top, and you've got 2 guys along the half wall, somebody in the bumper, and somebody, kind of to the side of the goal, occasionally in front. Or maybe like toward the corner behind the net. But it almost looked like Carolina was set up almost in a star, right? With somebody at the center, 2 guys in the opposite face-off circles, somebody in front, and then somebody in the dead middle. And that was Ehlers for a lot of it. And I thought Carolina moved the puck very well for those 3 minutes. And again, at 5-on-3, I don't know how many chances they had, how many shots they had, but they were good. They just didn't score. I wasn't upset at all. I like the way the power play looked. And for the most part, except for the last power play, and I don't remember exactly how many Carolina had, except for the last power play, which was terrible, I thought they were practicing not getting the puck in the offensive zone. I thought the other power plays they had were all good. They just didn't score. So, and that was sort of the case on Monday, but not all the power plays were as good. I thought these power plays tonight, except for the last one, I thought Carolina was really good on the power play. Now, because I don't know if this is proof or not, but Carolina could have scored a ton of goals.
Poked away by Anderson, and now he'll set up a break. The shot gets through, and being tugged was Ehlers. And Tarasov able to make the save there. Here comes Svechnikov sending it across, and that shot hammered by Nadeau, but getting across is Tarasov.
big picture, this is just one game, but Svechnikov and Nadeau have something going.
Nadeau with it at center ice. Bradley Nadeau makes a move, feeds it out in front, backhand chance, and Tarasov makes the save as he denies Robinson. Step in, now here comes Carolina with a chance. Ehlers with the intercept, Aho across, Jarvis in the slot, Tarasov robs him. Aho with the rebound, he sends it out, Ehlers with a shot, and Tarasov hugs the post to keep it out. Svechnikov back up, Aho deflected out in front by Ehlers, save made Tarasov.
Skillful play, he couldn't take it with his stick, so he actually redirected that Aho pass to Ehlers with his skate. Would have been legal.
All right, now I want to move on to the second line tonight, and I've talked about this in a big picture way, and I do think it's important. If you're Jesperi Kotkaniemi, I'm sure you watched the game, probably in the building, maybe in the press box. I don't know if I wasn't looking for you, but if you're Jesperi Kotkaniemi, you were here Monday night, and you were watching Logan Stankoven play the middle, and you went, "That's my spot." He's trying. And the head coach is auditioning him as a second line center. And if you're KK, you have to be thinking, that's my spot. How do I keep my spot? Hurricanes are only going to play 4 centers. It's just the way it goes. Aho's 1, Stahl is 2. Who's going to center the second scoring line? The head coach sent Stankoven out with Jackson Blake and Taylor Hall Monday, but that's probably going to be Andrei Svechnikov. Except tonight, Carolina played the top line, and Rod wanted the whole power play unit, so he had Svechnikov playing with Kotkaniemi and Nadeau. And I didn't love KK's first 5 or so minutes, but I did love the last 15 or so of the first period. And I thought that was the way he had to play. There was, I don't think anybody, I know what the hit said. They had the Hurricanes with 30 hits. I don't really remember them. But I thought Kotkaniemi played a pretty good game tonight. Better than that, very good game tonight. He was one of my 3s. I think I gave him the 3rd star. He was good enough in the faceoff circle. You'd like to see a little bit more dominance against an AHL outfit. But he was 10 and 19 in the faceoff circle. Killed penalties tonight. And frankly, he should be a good penalty killer. Big body, good skater. I mean, he should be good. He should be part of the penalty kill mix. And he scored the goal. Now, the goal was really a creation. Like, he gets credit for the goal because he was in the right spot and he buried the shot. Carolina needed more of that tonight. Goal is created by Svechnikov behind the net, Eric Robinson on the half wall, and then Svech gets the puck back and he feeds Kotkaniemi, quick release, goal, 2-0. But it's an important preseason for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I think his spot in the lineup is probably fine. But do you want that spot to be as a 4C? Or, I mean, I don't think anybody really believes he's at second center. But on home ice, Jordan Stahl is going to play more minutes than he will on the road because Carolina can control the matchups. And on the road, Jordan Stahl and Martinook and likely Carrier right now will not play as much because they can't be deployed like Rod wants. So if you're Kotkaniemi, there's 16 or 17 minutes of ice time that is available if you can earn that spot back. And it's the way he's got to be looking at the preseason. And I thought he took a good step towards that tonight. We're gonna have to get more. And I'm sure he's going to play Sunday here. And he might get one of the road games. I don't know if he's going to play. If he's going to play Sunday, it might be Sunday and then the last one. I don't know that he'll play Sunday and Monday. I don't think you'll see anybody play Sunday and Monday. But he might play Sunday and then the following Saturday, the final preseason game, which I think that's in Florida. Either way, maybe Monday's in Florida. Like, I could see that. And because I think if you're KK, you want to play. You want to show the head coach that you can do that. So let me move on to the other two line mates. Because tonight it was Andrei Svechnikov and Bradley Nadeau. I thought Andre played a really good game. He was my second star. So I thought we saw almost everything we want to see from Svechnikov. He was definitely a playmaker. I would like to have seen him shoot the puck a little bit more, but I also didn't see him making bad passes. I thought they were good passes, and they created opportunities. The one thing we didn't see, I'm not that upset about because it's just a preseason game. Andre had opportunities to really lay the body on some of these players and chose not to. There were many chances behind the net, physical battle. Now, his physicality did force the turnover that led to the Kotkaniemi goal. So it's not like he shied away from it all night, but it did seem to me that Andre was, it's just a preseason game. I ain't out here trying to take souls, which is okay. But 2 weeks from tomorrow, when the Devils are here and Dougie Hamilton is behind the net with the puck, I'm going to guess that Andre is going to light him up because that's the way Andre needs to play. The other element, the other guy on that line was, for me, the first star of the game. And I will tell you that to me, it's a coincidence that my 3 stars all came from the same line. I promise you it is. Because there were many plays that were made by Bradley Nadeau tonight that did not involve Andrei Svechnikov or Jesperi Kotkaniemi. You heard one of the highlights. It was Nadeau to Eric Robinson in transition. It's a shame that wasn't a goal because it was maybe the best, smartest play of the entire night because Nadeau has the puck. He's right at the blue line. He straddles the blue line, but he hesitates the play enough to allow Robinson to clear, to allow him to have the angle, the diagonal angle to make the pass, and he put it right on Robinson's tape. Unfortunately, Robinson couldn't bury the shot. If Robinson scores that, it's 3-0. But it's the best play of the night. And I thought we saw a lot of that from Bradley Nadeau tonight. And when you go to what he did Monday, which was kind of not good, I think it's really cool that he played very well tonight. And I think the head coach probably pretty happy with what he saw from 29. Does it mean he's going to make the team? We're going to have to see that again. I wouldn't be surprised if Nadeau played 2 more times. I think Jackson Blake played 4 preseason games last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Nadeau played again. Legitimately 2 more times. He was a good player tonight. Best player for me was Bradley Nadeau. Real quick, before we get to some veteran players. Shouts to Ryan Suzuki, who first period was awesome. I thought his game, it wasn't bad at all, ever. But there wasn't as much dynamic play after the first period as there was in the first period. But I could argue that Suzuki was Carolina's best player in the first period. I thought he was really good. So he creates the first really good scoring chance where he's got the puck behind the net and ducks out in front. And what happens right after that is Giovanni Smith has a great follow opportunity, just missed the net. But that play was all created by Ryan Suzuki. Then at the end of that play, he draws a penalty that puts Carolina on the power play, and that created that 3-minute sequence. That was Ryan Suzuki. That was hard work. And I was talking to Ryan Henkel from Hockey News after the game, in the second intermission, and I don't know if Ryan Suzuki's ever going to play here. I really don't. I mean, he's not better than Kokoniemi or Jankowski or Stankoven at center, obviously Aho and Stahl. So he's Carolina's 6th center. So right now he's going to go back to Chicago. He was an AHL All-Star a year ago. And it's possible that he's just an American Hockey League caliber player. But he's a good one. And I don't think he really can play regularly here. But maybe there is an organization where he can play regularly. Now, I'm not saying that the Hurricanes are going to move him. But what I am saying is that he is good enough to be in somebody's lineup, just not this one. So, look, it'd be great if Carolina can keep him in Chicago, let him do his thing down there, maybe be another all-star, knowing that if they needed him, he can come up and be, to some extent, and this to me, this is a compliment. I know it would be a compliment to the head coach, Jack Drury light, because Suzuki can play both ends of the rink. So I liked him tonight. Finally, last thing, and we'll get out of here. Mike Riley, between now and the end of the season, maybe it's when Carolina's hoisting a Stanley Cup. Mike Riley is going to do things in some games that he's going to be asked to play in. And you're going to go, man, I am glad they signed him. Over the last several years, the Hurricanes have not had NHL depth on the blue line. You've heard me say it. I don't know why the Canes have not, at the trade deadline, found 2 guys with legit NHL experience just to have hanging around. Because last year in the playoffs, who had to play? Right? They had to play Scott Morrow and Alexander Nikishin. Neither were ready to play. That was an unfair situation to put Nikishin in and Morrow. And Morrow had played a handful of NHL games, played well in some NHL games. That was just an unfair situation to place Nikishin in. But what options did they have? Ty Smith wasn't any good. Riley Stillman's an AHL player. I mean, no offense to Riley Stillman. That's what they are, right? They're really not NHL caliber players. Mike Riley can play. I thought Mike Riley was good tonight. And they've got him locked into an NHL deal. He does it. He understands the gig. If he sits around for 20, 30 games and doesn't get in, then that's what happens. But invariably, somebody's going to be missing time, and you get number 6 and you throw him on the ice. And I think Riley can run your power play. Riley is a good player. That's a really, really smart signing. Very quickly, I thought the PTO guys played well tonight. Kevin LeBanc has been good in both games. Giovanni Smith, I think he's a little slow, but I think he can go to the AHL. If Carolina wants to keep him around, they can go to the AHL on a 2-way deal. Go down there, help the younger guys, help some of the prospects down there. And then if you decide, you know what, we could use a body because Florida's coming to town and we just want somebody around and maybe throw a little muscle around. Giovanni Smith can do that. And I thought he was a good player tonight. LeBanc's been very good. And Oliver Shillington Monday was pretty good. But the 2 forwards to me have stood out. The 2 forwards here on PTOs really stood out. I thought they have played very well. All right, that'll do it for us. I know it was a loss, but I ain't worried about it. I thought Carolina played exceptionally well for 40 minutes tonight and then kind of turned their brains off. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out. They're coming out to my house in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, stuff getting done. Isn't that cool? We'll do this again on Friday night. Canes are in Tampa, so you get a chance to see my back porch. Isn't that grand? Thank you very much for joining us. Me, Canes Corner Podcast. Follow, rate, review, subscribe, like, share, rant. See everybody on Friday night. Good night.